Hi, my name's Tamra, and today's kitchen side chat is going to be all about pumpkins. So I know everybody is excited about pumpkin season, as am I, but I wanted to focus on things you could do with a pumpkin that typically people don't really think about, especially like savory options. So today we are going to talk all about how to make pumpkin seeds that your kids can enjoy and how to avoid that tummy trouble that sometimes people get with pumpkin seeds, as well as how to roast a pumpkin and be able to add it to many dishes and things that I think a lot of people just don't think about. Because typically we think about pumpkin pie, pumpkin bread, all the sweet, yummy stuff of like this time of year. But if you actually roast a pie pumpkin, which you can get from a lot of local farmers, I think Central Pantry has some, and I know I got this one at Aldi, which I typically don't buy tons of produce at Aldi, but this is super cheap. It was like $2, and so you can roast it. And what I love about roasting it is it's like this delicious, delicate meat, just like you get when you are going to roast like a butternut squash and that kind of thing. So we're going to talk about pumpkin seeds, roasting a pumpkin, and all the different kind of dishes that you can do if you're not feeling like a sweet pumpkin dessert. So here we are, the savory side of pumpkin. So the one thing I want to talk about with seeds that I think a lot of people don't know is that pumpkin seeds, and here are some ones I roasted. They're very pretty with all the seasoning on them. They are full of nutrients. And so if you could get your kids or your spouse or your family or yourself to eat pumpkin seeds, they are a powerhouse packed full of fiber. They are packed full of fiber. They're 1 gram of fiber per handful, about like per ounce, which is probably about a handful. And so like when you have a pumpkin, and clearly look at these, there's so many seeds in these pumpkins. So like, for instance, this is not a pie pumpkin. This is a regular pumpkin that you would like carve a jack-o'-lantern in or whatever. But like when I opened it, it was just filled with seeds and pumpkin guts. So we'll kind of talk about the process as well. So the other thing about pumpkin is magnesium. So pumpkin seeds and pumpkin is actually filled with magnesium, 37% of your daily value. Magnesium is really important, especially just for like moving bodies. And a lot of people, if we're not eating the right kind of foods, especially like nutrient dense foods like pumpkin, leafy greens, broccoli, we're not quite getting as much magnesium as we need. Another thing is iron, 23% of your daily value in these little pumpkin seeds, iron. And so if anybody's ever given blood, occasionally I've given blood and I haven't had a high enough iron content. So if you wanted to give blood but you're worried about your iron and your hemoglobin, you could eat a handful of these, maybe make a pumpkin puree and eat it in your spaghetti. So tons of iron here in these little power-packed nutrient things. So we're excited about that. Let's see, the other thing was copper, 19%, which I didn't really know was a thing, and high in antioxidants. So these seeds and pumpkin has as much antioxidants as a blueberry, which again, you always hear about blueberry having antioxidants, but we don't necessarily think of that with pumpkin. So I thought that was all really interesting, and it made me want to eat even more of it. So the first thing you're going to do is, obviously when you get your pumpkin seeds and your pumpkin guts out, it's going to be pretty gross. So what I did was typically I've had good luck with this, take your pumpkin seeds and your pumpkin guts and put them in a bowl with cold water. So I did that first, and then once you do that, you'll have these beautiful seeds, and they're all clean and all the pumpkin guts are gone. So I've done that process before because I thought it would be kind of boring to watch. So now I have these clean seeds. So the second thing you're going to want to do is if you have tummy trouble, or you have a child, or you just want to avoid the possible tummy trouble you could get with making pumpkin seeds, a lot of people either soak them in cold water for 5 to 6 hours, or you can speed up the process and you can boil them in salt water for 5 to 10 minutes. And then you're going to do the rest of the steps I talk about. So I personally have not had tummy trouble with pumpkin seeds, but I have heard a lot of people that do. I'm not sure why. I'm sure there's something I could look into it. But if you just want to avoid the tummy trouble you could possibly have with these, go ahead and either soak them or boil them. So the next step, either after soaking, boiling, or if you weren't going to do that, and I didn't do that because I personally don't have tummy trouble, I just clean my seeds, and you can still, there's a few pieces of like little guts here and there, but for the most part, I got most of them out, so they're fairly clean. You're going to take those And then you're gonna lay them out on a towel or a paper towel or something, and you're gonna wanna let them get super dry. So getting them super dry is the key to getting really crispy, really yummy seeds. And I'll show you, these are my crispy seeds, and I'm gonna kind of, hopefully you can hear that right next to the microphone. They're super crispy, they're super dry, they're super crunchy, and that's what we want. So getting them dry is really the key to that. So you're gonna season them with a combo of seasonings, olive oil, coconut oil, butter, etc. You can use anything, coconut oil, butter, olive oil. What you're gonna need is about, depending on how many pumpkin seeds you have, with about this amount, I would use a tablespoon of that kind of oil, butter, whatever you wanna do. And then seasonings. This is the fun part. So what I like to do is, personally, I really like kind of the ranch seasoning flavor. So I did I think I did a tablespoon of ranch seasoning, which you can buy in the packet or you can make yourself. And then I did a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, and a little mix of dill, just because I like it. And then I mix that all up, and paprika for color. So I mix that all up, and that's kind of what I would coat all of these seeds in, along with olive oil, coconut oil, whatever. And you're gonna wanna mix them in a bowl. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick to show you what that looks like. So I'm not gonna measure out my oil because there's not too much left in here. You wanna take your oil and take your seasonings. And so I might go ahead and made that mix ahead of time. But what's nice about the seasonings is if you Google pumpkin seed seasonings, literally, like, there's so many combinations out there. There's cinnamon and sugar, there's pumpkin spice, there's tons of like sweet and spicy, there's a dill pickle recipe. This one is just kind of one I made up. It's just like ranch seasoning with like a bunch of other flavors that I really like. There was one where it was like cumin and chili powder and different things like that, so that could be fun. So this is like as easy as it gets. So you just mix those up. It smells so good. So as you can see, they're like all coated. And then we're gonna take these and we're gonna spread them on a cookie sheet really, really nice and evenly. You wanna make sure that they all are not overlapping and they have plenty of space. And we're going to cook them in the oven at 300 degrees. If you wanna bump it up a bit, you can do like 350, but watch them. And then do 20 to 25 minutes. Now, about halfway, you're gonna wanna open up the oven and kind of like break them all up and like stir them all around and make sure they're not sticking. If they're sticking, I would do a little olive oil or spray or coconut oil or whatever you use on the cookie sheet so it doesn't stick. But for the most part, that's all you're gonna do. And then you're just gonna keep kind of watching them. When I get to about the 5-minute mark before I'm gonna pull them out, I look at them again, I maybe give them another stir. And then basically you are looking for really crisp, really, really dry seeds, and they have like a nice color to them. And these, because of the paprika I put, they have like a nice color. But yeah, that's it. And when you bite into them, this is what you're looking for. They're so good. They're so good. And I know I'm treating my body well because there's a ton of nutrients packed in these. If the nice thing about making them yourself is if you're trying to go on a low sodium diet, or there's maybe something that you're trying to avoid, like gluten or things like that, you can really pick what kind of seasonings you want to put in them. So that's super fun. So this is basically, I'm going to throw those in the oven and cook them. And these little guys I'm going to eat. So the good thing about the storage on these is once you get your roasted seeds and they're completely done, you're going to want to stick them in an airtight container. And that could be a mason jar, a Rubbermaid container, a plastic bag, a reusable bag. And so I have all of my seeds from earlier in here. Whoa. Dropping them everywhere. But yeah, so as you can see, they're really dry and yummy. And these, I would say in a bag, probably about a week tops, because what's going to happen is if you do a bag or box or like any kind of Rubbermaid container, as soon as the air gets to these, they're not going to be crunchy anymore. They're going to be soft and they're going to bend. And I personally just don't like them like that. So I would say maybe 5 days, 7 days at the very max. They're not going to hurt you, but they're not going to have that crispity, crunchity, yummy flavor, which is why I like pumpkin seeds, because to me they remind me of potato chips. So there's that. And the second thing I was going to talk about is just roasting a pumpkin. So when we get like a little pie pumpkin, it's so cute, adorable. And then you cut into it, and this is what it's going to look like. So You're gonna have all these seeds and kind of these pumpkin guts. You can totally roast these seeds as well. In fact, they look just like the seeds I pulled out of the other one. You're gonna take all of that out. And again, you could roast them. You could take the guts, throw it in your composter, whatever you wanna do. And then I only roasted half of this so you could see what it looked like, but I roasted this at 300 degrees for, I think, about 45 minutes. I kept watching it. I did like 20 minutes. And then I poked it. And what you're looking for when you're poking it is you're looking for this to be real soft and start to kind of flake away, almost like a spaghetti squash or a butternut squash or whatever. And typically a lot of people make this into a puree. You could totally do that. You could make it into a puree and make like a soup out of it. You could do butternut squash. I like to cut it into kind of chunks or mix it in with like quinoa. You could make it into a sauce. You could totally just like mix it in with sweet potatoes and do like a mashed pumpkin sweet potato. It's, again, full of nutrients, and I think it just gets this rap of being like you have to put sugar with it, but it's honestly like really delicious just with salt and pepper, which is what I did. I don't know if you can see in there, but I did salt and pepper and I roasted it, and just check it. And as you can see, the bottom gets kind of soft. That's what we want. If you wanted it to be even more cooked, you could continue to roast and roast and roast it. I did olive oil, salt and pepper, and get it really, really, really soft where it's like falling out of the shell. Then you could blend that up and make it into like a puree, a sauce, something like that to add to any meal really. So really, sky's the limit. So it's super versatile. So think about pumpkin in another way and just think about it as it's not just about pumpkin pie and pumpkin bread, but there are so many other things you can do with this. It's a nutrient-dense vegetable. I guess technically a fruit, and honestly, it's super fun. So I hope you enjoyed today's Kitchen Side Chat. If you'd like more information on pumpkins or kohlrabi or carrots or any other vegetable, check out our YouTube channel at Columbia Center Urban Ag. We have all of the videos we've been doing from March, April, May, all the different videos we've been doing, all the videos that Carrie's done on taking care of your garden, all the different cooking demos and things that Clint has done, they're all on there. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next Wednesday.